I was a freshman studying engineering when devastation of war hit all of us Armenians all over the world in 2020. And while my country was at war, I was at war with myself. I had a deep-rooted desire to protect my home and those I loved, but the pain, fear, and grief I experienced made me ravenous for revenge. Because of the war, I became compelled to pursue military engineering for all the wrong reasons. Instead of wanting to do it to protect everything and everyone I ever cared for, I wanted to inflict the pain I felt on the enemy. I wanted them to feel the grief and agony I was in, to pay for everything they'd taken from me. I was, to put it lightly, bloodthirsty. As the war went on, I saw the destruction and havoc large-scale war weapons wreaked on my people, and the potential they had to destroy what was sacred to us. Churches that had stood for centuries and millennia fell. People who had lived on the land for generations lost their homes, the homes they watched their children learn to walk in for the first time. They lost the graves and the cemeteries where their loved ones lay to rest. Not to mention all the incredible people we lost. Doctors, artists, scientists, brothers and sisters of our people. People who were meant to give so much to this world, but ended up paying the ultimate price instead. Imagine this. You studied with someone for years. You joked and played games together. You experienced the last years of your childhood together. Then one day, he went to serve in the army. And shortly after that, you found out that not only was he dead, but the search team couldn't even find a body. They found parts. Some things are better left unspoken, but learning how some of my classmates had died taught me a lot about myself. I realized I could never live with myself if someone, even a stranger somewhere far off, were hurt by something that I had created and given life to, or if what I had created had fallen into the wrong hands and been used in ways that were not intended. After all, sometimes it can be so easy to kill a person. All it takes is just one instant. But to heal someone, it can take an eternity, and sometimes a team of people who are not willing to give up on you. And so, I chose not to be the next Oppenheimer. And this is where my path to enlightenment began. There are battle scars that can tell you so much more about a person than the mouth would ever dare to say out loud. During the aftermath of the war, with my own 2 eyes, I saw the consequences of what I had only read about in scientific articles before. There are countless examples of men my age, younger or older, who learned how to walk again, some with their own legs and others with new legs, prosthetics. And one of those men is my former classmate, David. David ended up getting stranded in the mountains for months after the war. I remember hugging the book he'd gifted me, crying and praying for his return. And when I finally heard the news that David was alive, you couldn't possibly imagine my relief, because I had so many relatives, friends, and classmates who weren't as fortunate. Shortly after David's return to safety, parts of his feet were amputated because of severe frostbite. And when I finally went to visit him at the hospital, none of it felt real. I was so happy to see him, but I was also so incredibly sad for him, seeing that parts of his feet were gone. I don't know what it's like to know that you'll never feel the sand under your toes again. But thanks to his strong will and resilience, David now goes on hikes and rides a skateboard with the help of prosthetics. Recovery after amputation is such a difficult process, and it never ceases to amaze me how someone can go back to living a full life after experiencing something as traumatic as an amputation. And David's story is really what pushed me to my enlightenment. The discovery of biomedical engineering as a possible career path for myself. Just to make sure that we're all on the same page, biomedical engineering is a branch of engineering that requires the use of engineering principles to solve biological and medical problems. Try saying that sentence 5 times fast. Engineering in general is a very, very challenging discipline, but biomedical engineering includes all sorts of other subdisciplines which you may or may not be familiar with, like medical imaging, so X-rays and CT scans, and rehabilitation engineering, which includes prosthetics, implants, and more. Since my enlightenment, I have had the opportunity and privilege to work on so many different kinds of biomedical technologies and collaborate with so many renowned engineers and scientists from all over the world, as well as institutions like the Stevens Institute of Technology and Harvard Medical School. As I said, engineering is a very challenging discipline, but biomedical engineering poses its unique challenges. And after doing so much research and working on so many projects, I can confidently say that biomedical engineering is really, really hard in more ways than one. Sometimes when you spend hours and hours in a lab, you might forget about why you're doing what you're doing. You might think of the devices you're working on as some pieces of metal stuck together, which most of the time they are, but they are also so much more than that. In some cases, when you're working on something, it could be someone's leg or liver. In other cases, it could be a person's lifeline. And the more progress that we make in science, engineering, and medicine, the better we get at saving lives and improving people's quality of life. And I honestly cannot even begin to tell you what an honor it truly is to be a part of something like this. In war, no one is ever truly a winner, but I am so happy with the outcome of my inner war. At the beginning of my journey, overcome with grief and anger, I had no idea where I would be today, what I would be doing, who I would be working with, or who I would even become myself. I even recently received an invitation from Harvard Medical School to continue my research there in Boston. And had I not chosen to change my path, had I let my rage get the best of me, none of this would have ever happened in my life. And I sure bet if little Lizzie could see me now, she would definitely be very proud of me. There's a story that the Cherokee like to tell their children. They say that there are 2 wolves within each of us, one representing the good and the courageous, while the other is the negative and angry one. They say that these 2 wolves are in a constant battle with each other, and the one that wins is the one that we choose to nurture and feed. I don't know where life will take me, but I do know one thing for sure. I will always choose the good wolf. I will always do whatever is in my power to help my motherland and humanity. Don't let the big, bad, angry wolf dictate what you'll bring to this world. Let the bad wolf starve. Thank you.